what would you say would be if you reflect back on it, what was your most satisfying tournament win or match that you won? What was the one match in your jiu-jitsu history, your grappling history, or tournament that really, you'll remember the most? Like, what was the most memorable for you?
Yeah, there is two, and one I would say the first one was the ADCC final in 2007.
Yep.
There was so much history behind that fight. Since I started to dream about that in 1998 when there was the first ADCC, and I was a blue belt, and I was in Rio de Janeiro with Fabio and watching him train with Roberto Traven,
Yep.
and Alexandre Paiva, and who else? I don't remember. All these guys training, Leozinho, training for ADCC. I was said, man, I really want to fight that because I always want to fight MMA. I started jiu-jitsu because I want to fight MMA. So there was no-gi championship before ADCC, just for luta livre guys, not for Brazilian jiu-jitsu. So when they started with the ADCC, I said, man, that's my goal. More than words, my goal is to win the ADCC because it's the words, but the words of no-gi. And it's very prestigious. And I said, I want to win one day. And then I remember in 2003 or 2001, they did a trials, but I was a purple belt still. Yeah, early 2001, I was purple belt, and or end of 2000, and I won one fight against Fabio. Got me a spot in the super heavyweight, something like that. Under 99 kilos. I was like 80 kilos. Yeah, so 99 is like 220, pounds, and I was like 180, something like that. So I said, but I go because it's like it's my chance. So I go there, but I knew it would be very hard because everybody was black belt and much heavier than me, like 40 pounds over me. So I won the first fight against a Carson Gracie guy. Was an interesting fight. I remember Carson was in the side, rooting for the guy. He was the coach of the guy.
Yep.
And Carson started to get angry of the guy because the guy was like holding back, afraid of fighting me. And I was a small guy. And the thing that Carson hates most was the guy he called, the guy who, yeah, exactly. The guys who really, don't go after you, like the guys that are, kind of holding back. So he really get mad about the guy, and I was chasing the guy, pushing the guy, and like butt heading, like was crazy, and the guy was kind of getting a little bit down, and he was much bigger than me, and Carson was screaming to him. At one point I pushed the guy outside near Carson. Carson said to me, hey boy, just finish this guy, against his own student, just finish this guy, go there and just finish this guy. It was fun, and remember Carson was like in that championship, was in ABB Lagoa, and we just there was just the separation with BTT and Carson Gracie. The guys left, and he would go to the guys, all the former Carson Gracie guys, the BTT guys, and he would see the guys in the stairs, in the gymnasium, and go and start to. He called somebody and say, "You see that guy? 10 feet away from the guy. Say, you see this guy here? This guy is a mutuka. This guy is like an asshole. This guy's blah, blah, blah." And then his students, they wanna, they don't wanna say nothing bad for him. They respect him, but they don't wanna, listen to that. So they just move to the other side. Then suddenly you see the guys leaving, and suddenly you see Carson walking to the guy again, go near to the guy, calling somebody else out of nowhere and say, "You see that guy? That guy just did that. That guy, he has no character. This guy was funny, Not for the guys, but for me, it was really funny. Carson was funny. So, anyways, so then there was the split in Alliance, and we left. And I didn't get invited to the. I don't know if there was something to do with that, but I didn't get invited to the trials in 2002. Sorry. And till 2003, they have ADCC every year. And man, I was so frustrated because I knew I had chance to do well. and I didn't have chance even to do the trials. They didn't allow because they just invited people. So it was kind of, was not nice because they invited who they want, and who was in control were some guys. They were in control of the invitations.
Yeah.
So if they don't think you deserve, of course I deserve at the time. And I remember going there and watching. The ADCC was in São Paulo in 2003, and I saw Leozinho winning, who is my who was my training partner, and I saw Marcelinho. I knew Marcelinho would win. I knew Marcelinho was great, but nobody knew him.
Yeah.
So he goes there, he fight Renzo, and he did crazy,
Yeah.
and he fight Shaolin, he did crazy, all these stars, and he finally, he win the ADCC with like 18 years old, something like that.
Yeah.
And I was happy for him, but so sad after that for me that I remember, because I said, man, I didn't have the chance to show that I can win also.
Yeah.
And so I put something in my head. I said, man, I will do everything that I can to get in the ADCC and win that. So go forward 2004 to 2004. In 2004, what they say, okay, we're going to have trials for everybody, but we're going to have 4 people in each category. And the next week, we're going to have another trial with 4 people that we're going to invite. So we'll be 8 people, and they will fight, and 1 guy will go to ADCC. So
Wow.
I said, okay, I will get the invitation because I won, I won the final of the World Cup in 2003. I was doing well, winning everything. They didn't invite me. I need to go to the first trial. So I get in the first trial in Campos dos Goitacazes in Rio de Janeiro. I get there. I remember, man, I didn't have any money. I get in a hotel was the worst thing that I be in my life. I'm not picky, but I never saw something like that, So I go fighting, and there was 3 fights to pass for the... Sorry, there was one detail.
Okay.
Like, you remember when you saw me in 2004?
Yeah.
I was limping.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I go
the
to...
Mundials. Yeah.
Yeah, I go to Sweden to a seminar. I come back and I do a surgery in my knee.
Okay.
This trial that I'm talking about is like 6 years ahead. 6 weeks ahead.
Oh wow.
I said, oh my God. I asked the doctor how long it would take to recover. He said, man, the good time is like 2 months before you come back. I said, no, I need to fight in 6 weeks. He said, okay, we're gonna rush. We're gonna do in 4 weeks. It's not good. Maybe you're gonna be worse, but we can try if you do serious physiotherapy and this kind of thing. And you have 2 weeks of training for the fight. I said, okay, let's do it. So I get there. I come back to the first training after a month of the surgery. I go train with Robert Drasdale. Robert is very good in the arm triangle, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And my neck was kind of not so prepared, because I was like for a couple months without training, or 1 month. I think I tapped to Robert like maybe 10 times in one training, something like that. I said, oh my God, I'm fucked, because it didn't used to be like that before.
Yeah.
And I said, man, in 2 weeks, I'm going to have a trial so tough. So I go to campus, and then I get a very tough guy in the first fight. This guy is living in Costa Rica. I just met him a couple years ago. I'll win. Then the second fight I got I fight against Irapuru, which was a very, very tough guy from Draculino, from Gracie Barra.
Yeah.
I lost to him once before, and I win. And then when I fight him, I cut my lip here. We headbutt. I cut my lip. The referee said, I'm gonna stop. I said, please, there is just 1 minute to go. Please, that's my dream. Please.
Yeah.
Then he said, okay, go. And then they start to bleeding like crazy again. He said, I'm gonna stop. I said, please, just 30 seconds. And then start to bleeding like crazy. He said, now I'm gonna stop. I said, please, it's like 20 seconds, 15 seconds.
Yeah.
I clean and I just running away, and I win that fight.
Oh, wow.
So next day would be the final. And the final, the other side of the bracket was Braulio. Braulio was in the final. So I go to some, public health I didn't have insurance that time, so I go to some public place, or I had insurance, but it didn't cover São Paulo. So I go to some public hospital, very bad. They stitch my lips, like, wherever.
Yeah.
And next day I go to fight Braulio, and I'm able to win against him. And but then you think, okay, it's over. No, I come back to São Paulo, and next week there was the trial
The
against
real trial. Yeah.
the invitees.
Who was the invitee in your division?
Margarida was one.
Yeah.
So Margarida was pretty much the best jiu-jitsu fighter in 2001,
Yeah.
2002. Comprido, and Macaco, and man, so many good guys. I don't even
Yeah.
remember everybody. But I get Margarida in the first fight. Margarida was an idol for me.
Yeah.
So man, and then I go there. I don't know how I'll win the fight. I win the fight. Then I go win the second, and then the final I go with a guy from Carson. His name was Sergio. I forgot his second name, but who was like sparring partner from the old times, from Vitor Belfort, Valide, all these guys. Then I win against this guy. And then I said, okay, I just put in my mind this mindset. I said, I need to fight to win ADCC. So I won 6 already. I have 4 more. So I get in the IDCC 2005. I win my first, second, third fights against Saulo Ribeiro, another guy who was my idol. I saw winning against Fabio Gurgel, my teacher, back in, like a few years ago. I said, my God, I saw him winning against Fabio when I was like blue belt. So I get with Saulo, and I managed to win that fight. And I get in the final with Jacare, which was like a monster in that year. He was like the best fighter in the world.
Absolutely.
So I said, okay, what I should do is, I know Jacare is very explosive, right? And I'm more like, my pace, I keep going. I know I can fight for a long time, and Jacare is
Yeah.
more like fast fiber guy, like pa pa pa,
Yep.
So I said, okay, I will try to let this fight go. First 10 minutes, no points. So I will just, survive. And I always try to stretch the fight as much as I can, because after 20 minutes, we're going to have the overtime. And I want to do many overtimes as I can. Then Jacare will start to lose his explosiveness, and I will have the chance. And
And that
then,
made and that made sense because in 2003, Jacare got gassed in one of his matches. I believe he started to, you know what I mean, even with Saulo.
yeah,
Actually, it
yeah,
was Saulo who kind of gassed him out in the finals, I believe. So it was a good strategy for sure. And you guys fought for a while. So I'll let you
yeah,
continue. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah. So what I did is like, I go, and he did well in the first 10 minutes. He took me down. Sometimes he did some stuff, but there was no points. Actually, I never get points in the ADCC. Before that old fight, I was purple belt. I never got points in the ADCC rules. Never in my life. Not even in the trials or in the championship. So Jacare, he's trying to push the pace, and I'm kind of holding. And okay, I said, okay, 1 minute to go. Then I'm gonna start to push when the overtime comes. 30 seconds before the end of the first 20 minutes, the referee gave me a deduction point because they said I worked backwards. And that was weird, because I think they did that because we are from the same team, Brasa, at that time.
Yeah.
And maybe they thought, oh, they are not really fighting, but of course we are really fighting.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that. So when the 20 minutes was over, I saw Jacare, like
Celebrate.
celebrating.
Yeah.
And I saw what's happening. We have the overtime. And then I look at the thing there,
Scorecard.
the score, yeah. And there was 1 point, to him. I said, oh my God, I can't believe that was so frustrating. So frustrating. I was so sad that I wasn't, I said, I'm not going to fight the absolute division. That was crazy because they invited me, they just invited people. I said,
Yeah.
I'm not going to fight. I should fight the absolute division. So we go to 2007, and I go and say, I want to win this so bad. I training hard. I get there, I fight. I think was first fight was, or second fight was, no, first fight was Yushin Okami.
Shokami, yeah.
Yeah, it was very hard because I was, I was fighting under 88 kilos, which is like how much? Like 190, 195, something, 195.
And I remember I was there and I saw Yushin and I was like, shit, he's big.
Yeah,
He's
no, I
pretty big.
was, yeah, because I didn't cut weight, I was
Yeah,
185, something like that,
yeah.
187 maybe. And everybody was cutting down to 195.
Mm.
So everybody was like 10, 15 pounds over than me, especially because that, if I don't know if you remember, but in that time, the weighting was the day before,
Yep. Yeah.
not like today. So you do the weighting day before and you don't need to do the weighting again.
Yeah.
So I go fighting Okami. I didn't know him, but he, I end up winning against him. Then the second fight is Rafael Lovato Jr., which is like
Yeah.
the Bellator champion, great fighter, two great jiu-jitsu fighter.
Yeah.
I end up going to his back and winning the fight. Then the semifinal is against Tarsis Humphreys, who was like world champion Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Then
Yeah.
I win also. And then the final is Cachorrinho,
Flavio.
Flavio Almeida, the brother of Riccardo Almeida, great fighter. We did like 11, 12 minutes of fight, and then I was able to submit him. And so that was like the dream come true. That's something like the dreaming that I started to dream in 1998, and 9 years after. I remember going under was in the pyramid,
Yep.
how you call that?
Pyramid. Pyramid.
Pyramid,
Yeah.
yeah, in Anaheim.
Yep.
Anaheim is Anaheim. Yeah, it's in California, in LA.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if it's Anaheim,
Well, that
but it's
one's
in
Long Beach. But yeah. And then the Pan Am's
that
in
Long Beach.
Anaheim.
Long
Yeah.
Beach. That's in Long Beach. I remember going under the stair under the benches, and call my wife and cry, because I was so emotional. That was something that there was so much history. I didn't tell you, but when I go to Sweden, when just after I met you, there was
Yeah.
my knee was kind of fucked up. I was in a nightclub there, just watching a band. My friends were the bouncers. Some guys came to me. There was a gang, gang from the guys from Syria over there in this city in Sweden. They
Uh-huh.
came to try to push me, and I hit one guy. I never fought, in nightclubs, but this guy came over me. I hit the guy.
I had no
Then
choice.
suddenly, like there was 8 guys over me, and I started to fight the guys. One guy came to the side. I didn't see the guy stabbed me in my belly, with
Oh
a
shit.
knife, and they run away. I put the hand on my belly, and when I look back, I look down, I see blood all around. I said, my God, they stabbed me. I don't know if I'm gonna die or not. So then I come back to Brazil, I couldn't train well because the knife stabbed. And then when the knife is good, I do the surgery to my knee. And then I have this, all
Oh
these
my god.
trials there. Man, was so much, so much things going on to winning that. There was, an explosion of emotion. And after that, I said, man, this year I'm gonna win the absolute. Year I'm gonna win the absolute. And then, the guy, Demian, you are the guys we're gonna invite to the absolute from Brasa,
Uh-huh.
and we have one more spot. And there was Robert and Andre Galvão went into fight because both are third place in their division.
Yeah.
And I said, man, I want to put both to fight, and then I want to let them fight because I won already.
Yeah.
And I said, please let me fight and let them fight. I promise that we're gonna fight if we cross each other. And the guy said, no, just two guys for team. And then I said, I want to be democratic, because I was like kind of the
Yeah.
leader, one of the leaders of the team.
Yep.
Actually, I was the guy who bring Robert and Andre train with us. So I came to Andre and Robert and said, look, they said I'm the one, and you guys should decide one more. But I want to be democratic, so we're gonna do like 2-1, like the how you call the
Oh, rock, paper, scissors.
like that, yeah, something
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that, and to choose who is going, okay, and then guess who lost.
Yeah, but you know what? At the end of the day, what was it, like 2 weeks later, you got your call for the UFC. It was very soon after. It felt like two
No,
weeks.
yeah, in the end of the day,
Yeah,
was great and sad and very happy at the same time. It's like
yeah,
Andre need money very bad that time, and he got 30 in the absolute, and Robert share with him the money of the absolute because we are in the same team. So Andre end up getting a good money from third place in his weight division and half of the absolute. He was the guy who got most money. Robert Robert was the guy that I was not just training myself for this ADCC, but I training Robert too.
Mm.
You know, because all the Brasa guys they went to Miami and we couldn't go, Robert and I, to train the last 2 or 3 weeks. And Robert
Ah,
was desperate. And Robert said, Demian, what are we gonna do? It's just me and you and some blue belts. I said, Robert, come here. You trust me? Yeah, I trust you too. Don't worry. We're gonna do well here. And I said, let me do your training. Let me schedule your training. So I remember sometimes Robert would come from the countryside. He was living like 1 hour or hour and a half from Sao Paulo, and I would train earlier to train him,
yeah,
after my training. So I would train sometimes with Josuel Destaque, the guy who ended up
yep,
after training Anderson Silva and
yep.
Paulo Filho, all these guys. He's training Jacare right now and some of those guys. And I was with Destaque in the morning because, people don't know that, but 2 weeks after the ADCC, I had the MMA fight in the United States, my first fight.
Oh,
So I went
the Gracie fighting one.
race fighting
That's
championship.
right.
So I fought ADCC. Then 2 weeks after, I fought in Chicago. So I stayed in the United States and fought MMA in Chicago. So my training for this ADCC was crazy because was some days were MMA, some days were like,
Yeah.
just no gi ADCC rules.
Wow.
And so I was happy that Robert won. So our training worked, the training that, I have a part of that too.
Uh huh.
And I was sad because he won against one of my best friends, Marcel, in the final.
Yep. Yeah.
But that's competition life.
That's how it is.